Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about the New Orleans Saints 24-17 victory over the Chicago Bears. This moves the New Orleans Saints to 5-4 and put them atop of the NFC South, at least for the week. But all in all, thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. We just finished wrapping up the State of the Saints podcast post-game reaction on Bleacher Report. So if you didn't check that out, I encourage you to do so. Talked a little bit about what I saw in the game and also just some of the things that I thought the New Orleans Saints need to do in the future in order for them to stay afloat of the NFC South. But all in all, it was a good game. It was a game that started off in classic New Orleans Saints form, allowing teams that don't deserve to even be in the same conversation with them, keeping them around, quarterbacks that are young and inexperienced, have them looking like Joe Montana. But in the second half, that's when the lights started to come on for the New Orleans Saints. We started to see the Saints be opportunistic. The person more in particular is Paulson Adebo, who had an outstanding game, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble in a fumble recovery. And you also had 5 turnovers from the Saints defense. This is the type of stuff that you expect from a New Orleans Saints defense and not what you've seen in the first half. One thing that bothers me, Who Dat Nation, is the inconsistency of both sides of the football. And I'm talking offensively and defensively. And I mentioned this on X. I asked that you follow me on X at TJAYJones8. But I just said it just seems like the offense and the defense are tagging out, right? When the offense is looking good, the defense is lacking. When the defense is lacking, the offense is taking a back seat. I mean, is rising to the occasion. And I'm just wondering to myself, like, why is it that we just can't get consistency from both sides of the football? If this defense can play like they did the first couple weeks of the season and this offense start to come on, the Saints can be one of the most dangerous teams in all of football. I have never seen a team in all of my life just continue to get in their own way, and they just cannot get out of their own way. They won today, and I'm happy about that, but I'm just wondering, why is it that it's so hard for them to be consistent? We know that it's possible because we see both sides of the football thriving at certain moments. But if they can put it all together, then you can have yourself something special. And I want the New Orleans Saints to live up to their full potential. But right now, they aren't. And you have to think about them playing the Chicago Bears and how much of a role did that play in this game. I mean, the inexperience of Tyson Bagent, the fact that the Chicago Bears are trying to figure it out on both sides of the football. What role did that play in order for the Saints to be able to get back into the game? But I'm not going to continue to poo-poo on this because you only can play the teams that's placed in front of you. And the New Orleans Saints did what they needed to do in order to win this football game. I put a poll up on Bleacher Report when I was actually doing a post-game show over there. And the question was, how impressed are you with the Saints' Week 9 victory? Are you impressed? Are you somewhat impressed? Are you not impressed at all? And the majority of people were saying that they were somewhat impressed. And I think that it would have a lot to do with the fact that, the Saints are too much of a mixed bag. And it's going to take some time for people to start to embrace them again and wondering if they're actually watching fool's gold or they're watching a team starting to figure things out. I'm happy to see that the New Orleans Saints utilized Chris Olave in this game. it seemed that the Saints offense was really trying to make it adamant to get Chris Olave involved. And, Chris Olave, he made some plays. He scored a touchdown in the game, but you also want to see him be able to be a little bit more aggressive when his number is called, especially on the boundary. And you also want to see him come up with catches in clutch situations. Like, for example, there was a low pass that Derek Carr threw to him. Yes, it was low, but you got to find a way to come down with that football. That's what number one receivers do. That's what top-notch receivers do. They come up and they make plays in certain situations, especially clutch situations. But it's good to see that he's starting to turn it around. It was very alarming to see a game where Michael Thomas was involved in and he didn't get any catches or yards. I'm thinking that had a lot to do with the fact that maybe Michael Thomas was sick during the week and maybe the Saints were trying to install the offense, and maybe by him being absent or him not really taking part in practice fully for those couple of days, I think that maybe it has something to do with his production. But I digress. Regardless, it's good to see that the Saints are using players and using plays that work for those players. And if they continue to try to be as simplistic and not reinvent the wheel on countless occasions, I think that they can find themselves having a successful offense. I like the fact that they're utilizing Taysom Hill's skill set, allowing him to throw the football, run the football, also be able to be a part of the passing game. You can really see Taysom Hill has really evolved into that slot receiver / tight end role. He's really starting to make it work for him. He done carved out a niche for himself. Taysom Hill is absolutely amazing when you think about his age, when you think about how long he's been doing it, and the fact that he has accumulated a surplus of money based on this position and skill set, and how you see so many different teams in the National Football League that try to replicate what Taysom Hill does, and they can't do it to the fullest like the Saints can because of Taysom Hill's ability to be an overall football player. I mean, there should be a special wing for this dude in the Hall of Fame. I heard a conversation, people were saying he shouldn't be in the Saints Ring of Honor. Like, nah. I mean, this dude is, you're probably not going to see a player like Taysom Hill ever again. Like, I'm serious. It's usually like if a guy has multiple talents, he's probably going to be real strong at one and he'll lack at the other, but he can kind of do it. Like, Taysom can throw the football to a wide open receiver down the field 20 yards. He can run in between the tackles. He can break tackles. He can block. He can catch. It's very hard to find a player like Taysom Hill, and I'll be shocked if you go, you see another player like him in the next 5 years. I mean, he is that special of a player. But all in all, the Saints got the victory. I will say that I think the Saints need to work on the running game. The running game was not as effective. If you look at Alvin Kamara stat line today, even though he caught a couple of passes, converted a few plays into first downs, I mean, you still have to look at these stats here. I mean, 9 carries for 26 yards and a 2.9 average. And once again, Alvin Kamara is below 4 yards per carry, and that's not a good thing, right? I mean, he's doing some really good things. He's making some things happen, but he is not averaging where you want your running backs to average. And, I mean, he's still out there catching the football, 4 catches for 44 yards, but the running game needs to be in full effect. Last week, they made some plays, but this week, not so much. And I could look at the fact that, it's the Chicago Bears, right? The Chicago Bears defense, especially their defensive line, is really good, right? I mean, they kind of keep running backs at a low average. So I guess I can kind of look past that. But I can't look past the fact that Alvin Kamara has played in quite a few games this season. If I'm not mistaken, this was his 6th game. And, you still are under 4 yards a carry. So hopefully the Saints can actually get back on track and get the running game going. Because if they can get the running game going, that can open up big plays for guys like Shaheed, guys like Olave, these other guys that can stretch the field. So let's just try to get this running game involved if you're the New Orleans Saints, and the rest will take care of itself. I'm going to read some of your comments. Let's see. We'll start with Johnny, not TV Johnny, but Johnny Porter. Says Bucks regret taking that time out instead of taking the 10-second runoff. I'm happy though. Well, TV Johnny, it's simple, man. Look, um, you would like for situations like that to happen because it benefits your team. But I mean, look, all of these teams in the NFC South to me leave a lot to be desired. There's some teams that need to work on a multifaceted of things. But all in all, I'm just glad that the Saints got the victory in Tampa and Atlanta lost. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you listen to an Atlanta Falcon podcast or a Buccaneers podcast, they'll want the same thing to happen. I'm just glad that they lost. I don't care how they did it. As long as they lost and it gives the Saints opportunity to jump in front of them, I'm okay with that. Carr is inconsistent. Well, look, as far as I'm concerned, looking at this game today, Prime, I know what the narrative is, the energy is, but I mean, I wouldn't blame Derek Carr for this loss. Like if the Saints would have lost this game, I think he played pretty decent, all things considered. Did he make any type of throw in this game that it just kind of stood out to me? Probably not. Not really. But he didn't cost the team the game either. And sometimes you need games like this where your quarterback is just solid, right? So I know in the NFL world today, we want the quarterbacks to be able to throw the football and lead the team every single week and be the main reason why the team win. But I think he played pretty solid today. I mean, based on what I seen from the offense and what they needed from him, they didn't need a hero, right? They just needed somebody to go out there to facilitate the offense, and that's what he did. So I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him with that. Like, if we're talking inconsistent, yeah, he is inconsistent at times. But in this game, I feel like he did what he needed to do. I mean, they didn't need a hero in this game. They needed a game manager, and that's what he was in this game. So I give him credit on that. Tyrone says, hit that like button. Says, why our receivers not open like other receivers on other teams wide open? I don't know. I really can't. Really can't answer that question for you like that. I think that sometimes I do feel like a lot of these reads, some of these guys be open, but maybe that's just the way the Saints operate. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure there's a logical reason for that. More people that watch film will probably be able to explain that to you and why. I really don't go back and watch film like that. I basically just go back and watch the game just to try to see things that I may have missed. But I really can't answer that question. I really can't. I'm pretty sure maybe if they had another coordinator, maybe he can add more motion and maybe you'll start to see more wide open guys. But right now, you're not seeing it. It's always 50-50 tight coverage. What's up with that? I guess, it just comes and goes. It just comes and goes, man. It is a complete mixed bag at times. I just wish that the Saints can just be consistent on both sides. I can't stand Carr, but we stuck with the clown. Thanks, Mickey. So I'm trying to root for the guy. Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. The Saints are contractually obligated to him for at least another 3 years. So they're not going to get rid of him. They're going to try to do everything to try to accommodate him. That includes what they tried to do last week and bringing in another one of his buddies, Hunter Renfrow, which I feel like was the most absolute dumb thing I think I've heard. That I'm gonna just be 100% with you. The simple fact that you need some pass rush help and you're spending most of your time on the telephone trying to bring in a slot receiver if you look at it, like who like he's been struggling in Las Vegas, right? Trying to get the football. And the Saints have been struggling to get the ball into the hands of the guys that can make plays. So why would you even do that? Makes no sense to me. 3 interceptions and we win by 7. I love my Saints, but come on. Yeah, I mean, look, you expect to have like a blowout victory in situations like that. I do agree with you on that. 5 turnovers. The game shouldn't have been close. If you look at statistics or go throughout history, you'll see that most times when teams force 5 turnovers, the games aren't close. But look, nobody going to remember how many points the Saints won by. The only thing they're going to remember is the W. Yes, I agree with you. Like, it makes perfect sense what you're saying, but a win is a win. Just don't want him throwing deep passes. I'm not even mad at what the deep passes though, King Arthur. You know, I'm not mad at him. I mean, he threw a couple of deep passes last week against Indianapolis, and you know they were pretty doggone good. But you know, I agree with you, man. They probably want him to throw like the short intermediate stuff. I would like to see the Saints maybe you know call some plays where you got the wide receivers opportunity to run after the catch. So like a lot of plays that they have is more like area passes or whatever. Like, okay, you're gonna run, you're gonna stop, you're gonna turn around, the ball gonna be right there. It's very little room for yards after the catch unless some guys are really just breaking it. But I feel like that's something that the Saints lack. I think that they got guys that have disciplined hands, and that's what you need. You need a guy to be able to catch the ball and give you, some solid production. But you also need somebody that's going to break free and be able to get some yards after the catch. And if you look at Chris Olave, even with Rashid Shaheed, unless he gets behind the defense, you don't really have a guy that can go out there that can break the tackles and fight for extra yards. Michael Thomas can do it to a certain extent, but he doesn't possess the type of speed as Olave and Shaheed that you can really break free for like 30, 40 yards. Like, in order for Mike T to catch a ball and get some real big yards after the catch, like there had to be like some type of miscommunication defensively. No disrespect to Mike T, but we all know where his position is and what he is at this stage of his career. So I do feel like the Saints may need, that yak receiver. Maybe a guy like A.T. Perry may end up being one of those guys. I mean, who knows? But as of right now, the Saints definitely need one of those receivers. And I think if you were to get a guy like that, then I think that you'll start to see the offense continue to improve. I'm strolling down a little bit, folks. So if you don't hear your question, feel free to make sure that you copy and paste this. Says, I agree, Carr ain't much better than Jameis, but I hope Jameis succeed next year. Yeah, I hope Jameis succeed next year, man. But I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I don't want to be one of these shows where if Carr isn't throwing for 350 yards every single week, that we got to be critiquing him and comparing him to Jameis Winston. Like, they won today, and he played the way that you expect a player to play. Like in certain situations like that, right? They needed a guy to facilitate the game, not somebody to take over the game. And I get it, right? You pay a guy a certain amount of money, you expect for him to be able to him to be able to go out there and make some plays. But I mean, can't be a hero every single week. I think that he played pretty solid the way that this game went. I like the fact that the Saints utilized Taysom Hill. This was a Taysom Hill type game. So the Saints used Taysom Hill more effectively than I feel like they used Derek Carr in this game. And I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad at it at all. So there we go. Said Taysom Hill is the first player since Frank Gifford to have 10 rushing touchdowns, 10 passing touchdowns, and 10 receiving touchdowns. Yeah, they mentioned that on the telecast. And that's why I say Taysom Hill is he's such a weapon for any team. It's good that he plays for the New Orleans Saints. And he can just do so many different things. And that's what makes him so effective and so dangerous. And I'm just glad that the Saints have him and they're actually utilizing them, because honestly, if things weren't going the way that they were going towards the beginning of the season, I don't think we would be seeing as much Taysom Hill as we did. We'd probably be wondering why the Saints can't like make a trade for him. So make a trade, yeah. So if we go to the playoffs, we still need to fire DA. Well, look, that's the thing. That's kind of a mixed bag here, because the Saints aren't going to fire Dennis Allen if they make the playoffs, because that's just going to continue to make Mickey Loomis believe that all we need is a few more pieces and where we need to be. I'm looking at, if the Saints make the playoffs, P. Carmichael being used as a scapegoat. The Saints are probably going to end up talking to him, wanting him to step down. They're going to come out with a article saying that P. Carmichael stepped down for the Saints and both parties mutually agree, right? They're not going to just say that the Saints fire P. Carmichael because of his years of service, and he'll probably end up going somewhere, being an assistant, being offensive coordinator out there in Denver with Sean Payton. But I don't see Dennis Allen being fired if the Saints make the playoffs. I see the Saints actually hiring an offensive coordinator and they continue to like try to play the way that they have and bringing out Derek Carr and all this kind of stuff for years to come. So it's pretty much a mixed bag here. Like on one hand, you want the Saints to win and you want them to find success, but by them winning, you know that that's going to keep Dennis Allen around. So that it's kind of it's kind of a double-edged sword there, like just that's just the way the pendulum swings. Like if he wins, then he's going to stay around. If he loses, we're going to be upset, but more than likely he won't be around. So it's just one of those things where you just think to yourself, like, what do you want more? Do you want to see the team consistently win? Or do you want to see this team like kind of sputter? At least you know that Dennis Allen more than likely won't be the head coach. I want to see this team win. So there you go. I mean, I'm not the biggest Dennis Allen fan, but I'm not trying to sit up here and say I want to see this dude gone. Not at this point. Better quarterback and better coach allowed to get Mike T open. More Sean Payton would seam it up to get him open more than DA and P. Carmichael is. I agree with that, Kevin. Look, we all know that these guys, offensively, they don't have the mind of a Sean Payton. I'm not blaming them for that. There's a reason why we look at Sean Payton as one of the best play callers in NFL. Probably not so much these days, but when he was really in his bag, there's a reason why he's so well respected as an offensive mind. Like just because you're around the person, don't mean that you are the person, right? That doesn't mean that you absorbed all that person's information to a point where you can do what they're doing. If that's the case, then how special would anybody be, right? All we have to do is just look at that one person and the other people that's behind them that can kind of do things similar or kind of a spinoff to what they're doing. They wouldn't be looked at as special either, right? So that's just the way that it goes. I don't expect Pete Carmichael to be Sean Payton, but maybe it's just one of those things where it's just a little stale, right? I mean, it's just one of those things where a guy just gets exposed. It's not the fact that he's terrible, but it's what he's providing the team doesn't need right now. So you have to figure out, do you want to continue to go down this road and hope? Because that's what you're doing, right? I mean, basically, you're playing the game of football, and you have these coaches like you going to Vegas, right? And you gambling with the fan base, you're gambling with the organization. You're hoping that these guys can hit, but it's just not happening, man. I just feel like it's just going to be a mixed bag from time to time. Even in this game today, once again, I just think it was more so of who they were playing versus what they actually did. I mean, yes, they capitalized on the opportunities, and that's what you want. That's a plus, right? And I don't want to just completely poo-poo on it, because if the Saints would have lost to Chicago, then we would have been like, the sky is falling. So I can't just sit up here and just say, you played Chicago. But at the same time, you played Chicago and you played a quarterback that was just trying to make a play. And he threw the ball into harm's way more times than not, more times than probably a veteran would do in a situation like that. So the football guys smile down on you. But how many times are the football guys going to smile down on you on a game-by-game basis? I don't know, right? So you got to be able to win, and win decisively, and win emphatically, and leave little doubt that you are the best team, not only in the conference or the division, but in the entire NFL. Like, if you're not doing that, then you don't have the right coaches, in my opinion. DA gets aggressive when he should be conservative, and play conservative when he should be aggressive. Well, I don't know. I would need some examples of that, because I don't see very little aggression from DA. Like what's aggressive about DA? I mean, even his defense is aggressive. Like, he doesn't blitz. Like, it is very, very rarely. Nothing about him screams aggression. I mean, it's just I don't know. You got to give me some examples for that. If you give me some reasonable examples, some compelling examples, I will concede. This game wasn't encouraging at all, TJ. I'm gonna keep it real. Our offense looked so lethargic, and I don't know why most fans want to squeak into the playoffs because we gonna get smashed. Well, Mark, I don't know, man. Look, I don't think any of these games, the Colts or the Bears, are going to move the needle of hope and confidence in the team. But it's a start. You know, like when we looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season, we weren't sitting up here just saying, oh, they playing the Colts. Oh, they playing, they playing the Bears. Like we just looked at it and said, you know what, man, this is a pretty easy schedule. They get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Look, I understand the skepticism of Saints fans. I really do. Like, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm not standing in court trying to make a case without, beyond a reasonable doubt that the New Orleans Saints are a good team. To me, I don't feel like the Saints are a good team. I think the Saints are a solid team. I think the Saints are a tough out type team where you're not just going to go up in here and just blow the brakes off of them. Like, they're going to fight to the very end. But I don't think they're a great team. I think that they're a Super Bowl contending team. I just think that they are a solid team. I think the Saints are the same type of teams that we look at and we be like, you know what I'm saying? This should be a win right here. I feel like if you are not a Saints fan, that's how other teams, when they play the Saints, that's how they look at the team. Like, I'm not here to blow smoke up people's behind. I'm not here to put fluff on the situation. It is what it is. Like right now, we just have a C plus team. Like they're average. At times they might be B plus. At times they might even look like an A plus or A minus. But more times than not, they are a C plus team. They got C plus coaches who in crucial situations, sometimes they get lost in the sauce, so to speak. And I don't think that you're ever going to be an A plus team under Dennis Allen. You're just not. Like you couldn't win consistently when you had a relatively tough schedule last year. You couldn't really win when you have an easy schedule this year. You can't really win decisively when you had a quarterback that you really truly want but possess certain skill sets in Jameis. You're still having the same issues and can't convert and can't be effective consistently offensively with the quarterback that you did want. So you have to concede and say that this is an average team, an average football team. It's not a team. It's not a team that if you're basically just saying that the Saints are a great football team, like basically number one, you probably living in the past and you just still looking at this team like you did when Sean Payton and Drew Brees were here, or you just in denial because there's nowhere in the world that a person would sit up here and honestly say to themselves that the Saints or a good football team or borderline great. Like that's fandom talking right there. That's real, like that's delusion at this point. Carl, thank you very much for the $5. He says we played the same game as Chicago except just one penalty and 5 yards with no turnovers. The box numbers tell the story. We are still a boom or bust team. Well, that's a good thing too. I mean, let's give some credit too, man, because I don't want to just be sitting up here poo-pooing on these boys. Like they won the football game today. Number one, the penalties were cut down, right? The offensive line was pretty solid. There were some plays in which we seen Derek Carr standing strong in the pocket and delivering the ball, and the offensive line was holding it down. So the issues that we've been having with the offensive line, I mean, at least we can give these guys the big up this week. Andrews Pete, who was going up against Martez Sweat on, on third down situations, wasn't forcing a sack. Let's give Andrews Pete some credit too, because if he was slipping and sliding all over the place, then everybody would want me to read him the riot act. So let's give that man some credit too. They played pretty disciplined today. No turnovers, one penalty, and offensive line, who we've been talking about for weeks, not being very good, played pretty decent today. All right, so there we go right there. There we go. Let's see. Mike, do you still wear Pampers? I don't know exactly what we're talking about with that. Let's see. The $150 million man was outplayed by an unknown backup quarterback. Yeah, I mean, he definitely made some plays. We talking about Tyson Bagent. Yeah, he definitely was. But I don't really say that guys get outplayed because there's two quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like the other guys, like on the other side, playing. Like I never understood that. Like when people was like Breeze versus Brady, like they ain't playing against each other. Like they playing against the other team's defenses. Now, if Tyson Bagent is looking like a world beater, that wasn't Derek Carr's fault. I mean, that was the defense fault. And if Derek Carr would have went out there and lit up Chicago, that would have been Chicago's defense fault. I never, like I said, I just never understood. I understand it's like for, I guess, rating purposes or whatever, try to get people excited about a game. Oh, man, I'm going to tune in. Like we got on the TV right now, we got Dak. We got Dak against Jalen Hurts, right? But, I mean, it's two different quarterbacks here. Like they're not playing against one another. Hold on 1 second. I gotta plug in. Gotta plug in my computer. Yeah, if you into like DraftKings or fantasy football, and you got some money on this Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia game, my advice to you is not to select the defense because they're not going to give you any points this week. TJ, I must be honest. Thank God for Taysom Hill. He's our offense, and where's Mike T? Mike T didn't seem like he was part of the game plan today. It really didn't. Like even like a lot of the plays looked like he was on his Keith Kirkwood Traquan Smith. He was blocking wide receiver, which I don't know. I mean, but it also shows you the type of football player that Mike T is. You know, you ain't see him on the sidelines all upset and all that kind of stuff. Like the guy was a team player. So much respect for him. Much respect. For a guy that with that much talent, being a former All-Pro, multi-time Pro Bowler, with the resume he has, and him unselfishly like going out there blocking to open up lanes for AK to run, open up lanes for some of these wide receivers to be able to get extra yards. Got to give them respect. Saints need to draft a quarterback and start grooming him. Allen, an offensive coordinator, needs to go. Loomis too. Well, I'll tell you what. If Mickey Loomis has like any sense, or he wants to like save any type of face with the fan base, you got to go quarterback. You got to go get a quarterback. Like even if this guy sits down like almost like Jordan Love did, for a couple of years, and he goes out there and play. Like you got to select him because to me, I don't think that you're going to find a better situation than the quarterbacks that are going to be coming into the league in 2024. There's a plethora of talented quarterbacks. Like you literally can probably get a face of your franchise in the second round as at the quarterback position. Like that's how deep this draft is at quarterback. So look, I understand how people are, like when you pay big money for a certain player, you want to try to accommodate him. You want to build up his ego. You want to make him feel like he the best thing since sliced toast bread. But you also got to understand that your fan base deserves for you to put the best product on the field. Your fan base deserves to know that the future is in good hands because you're the one that's operating it. So you definitely got to get a quarterback. If you're not going to get a quarterback, you definitely got to get like a left tackle or something like that. Like you got to get something that can get this fan base believing that you are competent and you're not just doing something to try to stay in Derek Carr's good graces. Because, I mean, I understand you invested a lot in Derek Carr, but Derek Carr should never be more important than the future of the New Orleans Saints. Like, you shouldn't be sitting up here like, oh, man, we can get Michael Penix. He can be a really good quarterback for us for years to come. But how does Derek feel about it? Well, get Derek on board because the name of the game is winning, and it don't say winning until Derek Carr decides that he wants to retire. No, it says to keep winning until you can't win no more. Let's see. Come on, y'all. Derek Carr was 25 or 34 for 211. That's what I'm talking about. Like as critical as I am about Derek Carr, and yes, I do have my reservations about him. Yes, I do think that sometimes he comes off a little bit disingenuous. I do think he's borderline politicky, but I'm not going to just sit up here and poo-poo on the guy when he played pretty solid, when the team just needed him to play solid. And he is who he is at this point. Like anybody that's just out here talking about him, like I mean, he is who he is. Like this is not going to change. It's not like people are going to listen to the State of the Saints podcast or some of these other Saints shows and be like, you know what they said about Derek Carr, man, I really believe that. I really was feeling what they're saying. Let's go ahead and bench him. Like you're not going to see that, folks. You're not going to see it. So you might as well just sit back, relax, and just pray for the best. This is going to be a relatively short show tonight, folks. I'm not really feeling my best here. I feel like I'm coming down with a cold or something like that. So just trying to battle through. And yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for being here. It says, we'll need a new coach to get a new quarterback. I don't think DA is going to want to admit he made a mistake. Well, look, you don't have to admit that you made a mistake. You don't. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like if I sit up here and I had a booger in my nose, right? And you see the booger in my nose, and just because you don't say nothing about it don't mean I ain't got a booger in my nose, right? Just because you sit up here and try to pretend like these problems don't exist don't mean they don't exist. Like you can try to fake the funk, but everybody can see it. It's pretty obvious, right? It's pretty obvious that you're not very good at the kid coaching job on a consistent basis, more consistently than you expect for a coach to know what the hell that they're doing. So that's just how I see it. TJ and Chosen, we need to bring those Adebo haters to the front of the SOTS congregation for their pot of crow. Also, TJ, the O-line didn't give up any sacks. Kudos. Yeah. Look, that's what I said. I mentioned that on social media. See, the thing about me is when I'm wrong about something, I'm gonna say it. Like I say it. Like that's one of the main reasons why I feel like I can talk about any other situation. Because if I have a take on a certain situation and it's proven to be wrong, I come out here and say it. But you have people out here that were really adamant about this. Like the guy was starting to play better week after week. Well, wait till next week. Well, wait till next week. Well, look at this dude, man. This dude is playing out his mind right now. I mean, just some stellar football. And, he played really well today. And he was the main reason why the Saints end up winning this game and getting more opportunities. So that's a good thing. Mr. Mina Crown says, hit that cold comfort, TJ. Yeah, I'm at to hit something. I can feel it, though. I can feel it, coming on. And I was just kind of like battling through, man. But you can tell that the energy is getting a little bit low, man. Getting a little bit low. I'm definitely gonna be taking some medicine. Got some medicine that I'm gonna take and go ahead and try to see if I can get battle through this. It's that time of the season, man. Time of the season when things start to change. Weather hot 1 minute, cold the next minute. Y'all know how it go, man. Some of these places, it's kind of hard to get a grasp on what's really going on. I was out and I took Paxton and my wife. We went out with a couple friends of ours from the neighborhood. They have a son Paxton's age, and we went to this restaurant. And man, it was cold in certain spots, hot in other spots. You think you needed a jacket in one area, short sleeves the next. It was just a lot, man. It was just a lot. But y'all know how it go, man. Y'all know how it go. Let me stroll up a little bit. It says Carr was solid. Q, but you're being let me see, you're being realistic as I am. We're not down in Carr, but we being factual about football and how he stacks against elite teams, elite quarterbacks, and doesn't look good. These are facts. First off, shouts out to Big Q, but I'm not Q. There's only one Big Q, but I ain't him. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like nobody looked at Derek Carr and said, "Okay, man, this dude, $150 million quarterback, he's elite." Like who put him in that category? People just thought like he was above average, which he is. He is an above average quarterback. See, we kind of we have kind of gotten spoiled when it comes to the quarterback position. Now, if it doesn't look like Breeze, smell like Breeze, throw like Breeze, it ain't good enough. Everybody's not going to be Drew Brees. Everybody's not going to be an elite franchise quarterback. That is why when you have those guys, you have to have a level of appreciation for them. He's a solid quarterback. I mean, it's just that simple. And what I'm saying is, like, it's pointless to be able to just sit up here and just critique this dude after every performance that he has. Like, they won today. They won today. He had what 212 yards, but that was the type of game that needed to be played. Like, he didn't need to go out there and be throwing the ball all over the place for 400-500 yards. I mean, the game was pretty methodical, right? It was about the time of possession. What team can make the most plays? It just wasn't one of them games. Like it was like first off, the game went so fast, it made your head spin. And then on top of that, like, to be honest with you, like, who really stood out in this game? But like I'm talking about, like, from an offensive perspective. Like, we've seen, like, even though Taysom Hill made some plays, Taysom Hill, like, he's had better games than what he had today. You know, like I said, I mean, this was one of them games to me that, like, I feel like I would probably critique him a little bit different if it wasn't that type of game. But I get what you're saying. Like, people expect $150 million. They expect, like, stellar play. They want Mahomes like. Sorry, it just ain't happening. You know, like, I just felt like he needed to be a game manager, and that's what he was today. But just think about this, James. If the game called for him to be a game manager and he wasn't a game manager, he was just forcing the issue. Think about how mad, man, it's a sloppy football game. He's like, every time you look at a play, it was a fumble. I'm looking at the Philadelphia-Dallas game in the background. But anyway, like, if he would have went out there forcing the issue like he was trying to do the last couple of weeks, then we would have really been going at him. So he's knowing his role. Like, he needed to be a game manager today. He was a game freaking manager. It's just that simple. Like, and I'm not mad at him for that. Like, some games it might call for you to be more than that. And if you can deliver, then, you know, but it wasn't called for today. Exactly, TJ. Consistency from both offensively and defensive simultaneously. Yeah, it's kind of hard to actually see that. And I just wanted to see this team just be complete, because they got the players on both sides to be able to be what we need them to be. I like this win, but let's get better next week. I want DA to do good. I want Pete to do good. I want Carr to do good. Let's get the win next week. Yeah, Vincent. I mean, look, I want these guys to win. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not the biggest fans of their work. You know, I'm not. I mean, but I'm a big fan of the team that they represent, which is the Saints. So when the Saints don't win, I'm very, very upset. When the Saints aren't successful, I'm very, very upset. And, you know, I have no choice. Like, these guys are the representatives. These guys are the ones that are going to put the Saints in position to give us what we want as of right now, because we have no choice but to believe that they, you know, I don't want to say believe they can do it, but they're part of this team and they're not going anywhere as of right now. So there we go. Let's see. Group A makes a damn 53-yarder, then miss a chip shot. He has gotten on my nerves today. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty trash, the way that he is. But he is honest. But I have to say this: Lou Headley and Blake Grupe are two of the most Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael type players I've ever seen in my life. And what I mean by that is, when they on, it looks good. When they off, you like, what the heck is going on? And then also, my favorite, it's a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get. Like Lou Headley today. Lou Headley looked pretty good punting the football today. I mean, shouts out to Isaac Adam, you know, who ended up putting them boys down at the 2. But that was a good punt by Headley. Then you had Blake Grupe, who gives you excitement about a 55-yard field goal, all excited and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, he doinks it off the left upright. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're the most Dennis Allen appropriate players I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, this is the most Dennis Allen appropriate players I've ever seen. Up and down, mixed bag. got the potential, but can't live up to it. Carr is elite, but he ain't Breeze and Manning elite. He's more than Tony Romo, Phillip Rivers elite, which is good enough for a future Super Bowl. No, he not. Derek Carr is not elite. Derek Carr has never been elite ever in life. Like, he has never been elite in life, never will be elite. He's always been like bottom tier. Like, when we talk about elite, see, that's the biggest issue I have here. When we start talking about elite quarterbacks, we think about guys that if you take them off their team, it's pretty obvious that they're not very, you know what I'm saying? Like, their team just can't function. Now let's look at the Raiders, right? Now, at any point where Derek Carr was the quarterback, were the Raiders ever the best team in the league? And please don't, like, we talk about, oh, well, he didn't have this, we didn't have that. But when you look at guys like Joe Burrow, who came into a situation with the Cincinnati Bengals and basically turned these guys into a legit franchise, when before he was with them, they were nothing. When he's not playing, they're nothing. When he is hurt and hobbled and he can't be 100%, they're nothing. But when he's out there and he willing and dealing, they're one of the best teams in the league. Let's evaluate guys like Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes to New England, wins the championship, goes to a sorry, pathetic Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, and they become champions. That is the role, to me, how I separate elite quarterbacks. If you're not playing, then your team is going to look drastically different. When I look at the Raiders still suck. They sucked with Carr. They sucked without Carr. They sucked before Carr. So, and it's not like you'll see like how it was with Drew, right? The Saints defense stunk. They stunk, but you knew Drew Brees was about to come through. He was going to throw at least 350 and 4 tutties. And you know more than likely that they were at least going to be there to the end and be fighting for a playoff spot. Like, man, Derek Carr is middle of the pack, always have been middle of the pack. He had like 1 year where you're like, man, he one of the best players in the league, but he is not an elite quarterback. Like, we like, when you say elite, man, like I said, it's about being a complete difference maker. You gotta like really like the story has got to be told, and you have to be a part of it. Like, and if you're not a part of it, then there's no story to tell. There's no story to tell. And like I said, even if you want to like talk about, you know, some of these other top guys like elite, right? I mean, you could take the Bradys and the Breezes out. I mean, think about the guys on the cusp, like Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins is better than Derek Carr. Like, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the tiers. Like, he's not the worst quarterback. He got games where he can look like one of the best, but he's middle of the pack and has been his entire career. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I can't put him in the elite category. When you're saying somebody elite or they're the GOAT, it's like you're saying like a team can't function without these guys. Like, you know, like a true difference maker is what I feel like is elite. I don't just throw the term around elite. Like, even with like with Jalen Hurts and stuff like that, it took me a while for me to look at this dude as one of the like top quarterbacks in the league, because I don't feel like 1 year production defines you being elite. You know, I want to see this on a consistent basis. So, I mean, good, yeah. You know, above average, yeah. Elite, that's a different story. Not to say that, you know, he doesn't have like really good qualities as a quarterback, just not elite qualities. So do you think Baker Mayfield would have been better based off this time with the Bucs? No, I don't. I don't feel like I feel like you would have, if you would have put Derek Carr on the Bucs team, their record would have been the same. If you put Baker Mayfield on the Saints team, the records would have been the same. That's the way I look at it. Like, I feel like there is no difference in any one of those guys. I feel like they both the same. I feel like maybe, you know what I'm saying, like one game or two that you'll probably see one of them look like they're better than the other, but I feel like you'll probably have the same quarterback. I don't feel like there would be any different. I feel like if Baker Mayfield was playing today against the Chicago Bears, his stat line too would have been 25 or 34, 211, and 2 touchdowns. I really feel that way. I don't feel like there's like any other difference. But I mean, no disrespect to him, but I mean that's just the kind of lane he in. People think top 5 quarterbacks growing trees, though he's not elite, but getting a top 15 and near top 10 for a few years as well, it's a good thing. Yeah, look, if you got a top 10, top 15 quarterback and you accompany him with solid players and difference makers, yeah. I mean, you can win a lot of football games. But it will come down to a point where that guy has to make the throw to win the game. Now, it might not be in the NFC Championship game. Heck, it may not even be in the Super Bowl. But it might be a game where it can decide the number 1 seed, or a game that can decide if you're going to, win the playoff game or go home. Like, you got to be able to make a play to win the game. And I feel like what makes you elite is when you're making those plays constantly, right? And very little late game heroics have to be taking place. Like, I think we start looking at guys like, oh, he facilitated, and I was like this too, but I have really had to think about this. We start thinking about guys like, hey man, well, he facilitated 18 fourth quarter comebacks. He facilitated 33 fourth quarter comebacks. But you have to think to yourself, why is it that he's been in those situations all those times? Right now, the only way I could concede to that particular narrative, if it was a guy who's been in the league for 17, 18 years. If you've been in the league 17, 18 years and you facilitated 33 comebacks, that's a low percentage right there. And that means that you haven't really been in that situation very often. But if you're like your 7th season, 8th season, stuff like that. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you're facilitating 33 comebacks, oh man, Jalen Hurts looks hurt here. Man, my goodness. Man looking hurt. Uh-oh. That's not a good look if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Him coming limping off the field like that. But anyway, yeah. If you've been in the NFL 6-7 years, I mean, how impressive is that? Now, there's different nuances to that, of course. We can break that down all day and night, but hey, the 4th and 1 call to push it in with Carr instead of running the first down with Taysom Hill was a bad decision. Yeah, but who knows what was behind that? Who knows what was behind it? I got my thoughts, but I'll just leave it alone. Paying him is done. Nothing you can do with that. What do you do with what you have? Well, you got to make sure that it works, and you got to make sure that you got to put your team in the best position to succeed. So if a guy's limited, you have a larger sample size of him, right? You know what to put around him in order to help him be successful. So there you go right there. So as long as you can continue to put pieces around guys and make up for their imperfections, I think that you'll be fine. But as long as you like try to pretend, like these two situations aren't happening and he is the guy and, all we need is for him to throw the ball 50 times, we'll win, just setting your organization back. Did you get your flu shot? No, I did not. I didn't get no flu shot. Honestly, I ain't had no time to get a flu shot. Just been extremely busy. I plan on getting one. I know Groupie is young, but this kid is going to cost us games like he did at Green Bay. Well, I mean, if you do what you need to do offensively, you won't have to rely on Blake Groupie making a clutch kick. And then on top of that, I mean, come on, man, the dude is young. He's going to have to figure it out. And that's the commitment the Saints made. And I don't see the Saints cutting him. I don't see the Saints cutting. Because next week against Minnesota, he probably won't miss a field goal. Because that's kind of like I said, he is on brand. Him and Lou Hedley are on brand for Dennis Allen type players, right? Mixed bag. Look like world beaters one week and look like what the heck is he getting a check for the next? The Saints defense plays better in second half of games. Yeah, they make really good adjustments. But you would want them not to be trying to make those type of adjustments, right? Do we have a new number one corner? I don't think so. I still think Marshawn Lattimore is still the best corner on the Saints team. There's a reason why. Think about this. There's a reason why Paulson Adebo was getting the ball thrown his way so many times in order for him to be able to come down with interceptions. We ran that play plenty of times. When it don't work, it was a bad decision. Yeah, we talking about the 1 yard tush push. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody looks like a genius when a play works. It looked like a moron when it doesn't. That's just the way that it goes. That's just how it goes sometimes. Says Carr wants to love. We have for Taysom. That's why he went hurry up on fourth down. The booing got to him. Jeezy, your words, not mine. But I do. Your words, not mine. Let's see. I just won a complete game that wasn't a fluke situation like the Patriots. No slack and the swag says, I got my flu shot already, so hopefully I stay healthy this year. Shouts out to my frat brother right now, big swag fan. Y'all make sure y'all support No Slack and Swag. Y'all see Jackson State out there 7-3, and your boy Primetime, what he 4-5, right? But yeah, we can't function without Deion Sanders out there on the sideline. Yeah, shouts out to Coach Taylor. Let's see. Carr has earned our love with consistent, competent play. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's going to be. But like I said, I mean, you can't alienate the Who Dat Nation. Like, you can't politic your way into the love of the Who Dat Nation. It's just not going to happen. And, I mean, every quarterback has an ego. Every player has an ego. But you got to be able to keep your ego in check. You got to be able to keep your ego in check, man. Teams know not to try late like that. Let's see. Booing your team when they are winning is so corny to me. We still got to fix some issues, but damn. I don't know about that. I don't feel like it's corny. People just want to see consistency. And it's frustrating. Like, man, it's frustrating when you see a team with this much talent just can't live up to it. And, I mean, what was the score? Like, when they started booing, what was 17-14 or something? Like, it wasn't like it was winning by 5 touchdowns or something. Then I feel like that'll be a little bit egregious. But, man, people just tired of this. Like, people tired of seeing inconsistency. People tired of getting their hopes up one week and then looking boo-boo in the face the next. Like, people just want results, man. And, the Saints ain't been giving people consistent results. And I'm not on that side where it says, well, we winning, right? I mean, because sometimes that can just be fool's gold, right? I mean, it's almost like having a leaky roof one week, right? I mean, the roof leaking, and then all of a sudden, like, the leak stopped. There's a leak up there, so why not go into the attic and see where it's coming from? Why did it have to take you, for a big old huge, like, like puddle to be sitting in your roof in order for you to, realize that there's a hole in your roof, right? I mean, it's okay to address situations right then and there that way that they won't escalate into, like, bigger plays. So, I mean, there you go right there. Oh, yeah, and by the way, the Raiders are up 24-0 right now since they fired Josh McDaniels. I know some people might want to hear that, but it's 24-0. They fired Josh McDaniels, and now they got a 24-0 lead. And they benched Jimmy G for Aiden O'Connell, my guy right there. Thoughts on Tyron giving up big plays? Big play. A big play. And no, I don't have an opinion on it, because we've seen Tyrann Mathieu make, like, I want people, like, I'm not saying you're doing this, Alfred. Shouts out to you, man. Much love to you. Always been super supportive, so I'm not talking about you directly. But one thing that extremely bothers me about some fans, especially when players be playing, like, in the secondary, these guys can be playing solid for weeks. Good play, good production, Johnny on the spot. Then all of a sudden they'll have like one game, a guy catches a pass over him. Now keep in mind, Cole Kmet is 6'6", 250 pounds. Tyrann Mathieu, soaking wet, is probably 5'9", 190. Like, come on, man. And Tyson Bagent threw the ball up, a 50-50 ball. I mean, and honestly, that was good coverage by Tyrann Mathieu. That was just a great catch by Cole Kmet. I'm not gonna do that, man. I'm not one of them guys who, if a quarterback of the opposing team throws a deep pass to a wide receiver and our cornerbacks is down there and the guy makes a catch, man, what's wrong with him this week? The wide receiver just made a good catch. The tight end just made a good catch. There's nothing wrong with Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu was and is one of the best parts of this Saints secondary. And just because Cole Kmet caught a pass on him, I'm not saying that the dude is washed up. Like, we got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that when we get upset when the opposing team scores or makes a big play. We start looking at, oh, man, what's wrong with him? Nothing. These guys get paid a lot of money to catch passes. They get the Saints aren't the only team paying players to stop wide receivers. And these wide receivers are making plays. So nothing, in my opinion, Alfred, nothing is wrong with him. What's wrong, buddy?
I want to go help me.
Okay, I'm coming. Okay, we're about to close out the show. You want to sit here? Come on. You can help me finish. You can help me finish up the questions. All right. Let's see what we got. All right. So we talking about the Saints. Okay. Talking about the Saints and Tyrann Mathieu. You think Tyrann Mathieu is good? Yeah. That's what. Yeah. Paxton say he think Tyrann Mathieu is good. All right. We're gonna take a few more, and then we're gonna get up out of here. It says, I know a lot of people might not agree, but Marcus May was an upgrade from Marcus Williams. I don't know about that one. I don't know about it being an upgrade. He does have certain qualities that Marcus Williams didn't have. Like, I feel like he's a better tackler than Marcus Williams was, but he's not. He doesn't have better ball instincts than him. I know he caught an interception today, which was a really impressive interception, but I feel like it's pros and cons. It's almost like you're putting marbles on a scale here, right? You know, one guy had one good quality, he dropped the marble. Another guy has another good quality, he dropped the other marble. I don't see it. Like, I think that when you look at the position, guys do different things that make them successful and it works for them. I don't know if it's an upgrade. I think they both have certain qualities that if a team, you know, I feel like when Marcus Williams left, there was a certain element of his game that the Saints are missing. And I also feel like if Marcus May wasn't on the field in some situations, even though I don't know what the heck he was thinking on that fourth down, man, just completely turned up field when he had Tyson Bagent dead to rights, and it would have been a loss of downs and also turnover on downs. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking with that, but look, I like Marcus May. I think he's talented, but he didn't play relatively well today either. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, when we see a guy catch a pass over a guy in our secondary, he had a bad game. A guy can have a bad game and then all of a sudden catch an interception, and now we just can't live without him. Like, if you go back and look at that game and you look at Marcus May's production and how he played, like, he didn't play very well. He didn't play very well, man. So that's the way I look at it. Let's see. Williams always ran with the receivers and didn't tackle him. I won't say he didn't tackle him. He wasn't, Devin, he wasn't as strong of a tackler. Yeah, and May is a better tackler. I give him that. But he doesn't have better ball skills than Marcus Williams. That's why I was saying, Devin, like, it's like putting marbles on a scale, my man. Like, you drop a marble because this person has one good quality. Then you drop another marble because this other guy has another quality. And then you kind of see, like, it's kind of balanced because they both possess, like, certain skills that teams need. But if you combine all of their skill sets together, you'll probably have one of the best safeties in football. So the Saints lost something with Marcus Williams, you know, by him going to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see. Some guy with the last name you saw Marcus Williams on the field. Hold on. He said, when the last time you saw Mark? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Marcus Williams had been dealing with some injuries, which is weird because he dealt with some injuries in New Orleans, but not as many and not as significant as they've been in Baltimore. But when he first went to Baltimore, like he was about to have a monster season. Like he started the season. I want to say he had like 4 interceptions in like 4 weeks. So he was out there balling, man. But all of a sudden, I mean, I assume he played today. I assume he played. Man, we towards the end of the show. Let's see what Marcus Williams actually did in the game here. See if he came up on the stat line. Now I know Baltimore, who has been red hot. They've been red hot. I mean, they completely wiped the floor with the Seattle Seahawks today, 37-7. So let me see. Let me see if Marcus Williams. See if Marcus Williams is on the stat sheet here. And based on this, I don't see it. So I don't know if he played or not. I assume he didn't play. Yeah, I assume he didn't play. So that's just not a good thing right there. But all in all, that's a good, he's a good safety, good solid safety when he's playing. Let's see, no disrespect intended towards anyone, but you try being 5'9", 5'10", having to cover a tight end that's 6'8", 50 pounds on you. Yep. And see if you could have done any better than Matthew. That's what I'm saying. Like, and then if you look at the play, Brandon, I mean, it was a really good catch by Kmet. Like, come on, man. Like that was an athletic play by a 6'6", 250 tight end. Like the coverage was good. Not gonna win every matchup. I don't feel like every matchup that you lose is grounds for you people considering, cutting you. Let's see. Do ball skills trump tackling? No, they do not. No, they do not, because you're not going to be able to catch every pass, Chemo. You're not going to be able to jump in front of every pass and just catch a pick. And if a guy ends up catching a pass and you can't tackle, guy gonna hit his head on the goalpost. I rather, like, this may sound crazy, but I'd rather have a guy in the secondary that's a better tackler than just a ball hawk. I mean, because ball hawks, they generate turnovers, but they can cost you in big moments. Like I give you an example, like Trayvon Diggs, right? Like Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboys, like really good ball skills, right? But when you got him man-to-man coverage, I'm talking about barbecue chicken alert. Like, hold on, we gotta hit that one time. I mean, every time, like seriously, every time you see this dude, like he catches interceptions, like you throw the ball his way and he turn around and you see it, he gonna catch it. But I can tell you this: if you catch this dude man-to-man, cover zero, man coverage,
barbecue chicken alert, barbecue chicken alert,
it's over with. Let's see. If Carolina loses, this was a perfect day. New Orleans won, Atlanta, Tampa, and Carolina. Yeah, it would be a good day. I mean, it's a better day than all 4 NFC South teams losing. Hey TJ, until I've noticed we're playing the Vikings, I actually forgot all about Davenport. Damn, is he considered a bust now? Davenport, I want to say, wasn't he on IR or something like that? Got put on IR for 4 weeks, so he's not. I don't even think he's gonna play in this game. So, yeah, man, I guess you got to put your boy up in bust territory. But I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like this. If I knew that Marcus Davenport wasn't like just hurt all the time and how that it just affects him like on the field, I think I really would be just sitting up here calling this man a bust and all that. But I guess due to his injuries, like I guess you can like based on where he was drafted, based on who the Saints gave up for him, I can see people making an argument to say that he is indeed a bust. But I just wonder, like, if he would have been able to stay healthy throughout his career, would he have been a better player than he was? And honestly, this might be like his last year playing in the NFL. Like, I really feel that way because you have to believe all those injuries are starting to pile up. And you can tell, like, last year, based on, like, the weight gain and all that he lost confidence in himself. And when I seen him playing in Minnesota, he looked like he was lighter. He looked like he was coming off the edge kind of faster. So I feel bad for him, man. I really do. I wish that, he didn't have all those injuries so we can really sit and maybe appreciate what we saw, but just didn't pan out, man. But it happens to some of those players sometimes. The ones with that unlimited potential just can't seem to stay on the field. But all in all, the New Orleans Saints got the victory today. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read off some of these stats here as I go to ESPN's stat lines here. Derek Carr, 25 of 34, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill threw 1 pass for 3 yards. It was a 3-yard touchdown to Juwan Johnson. Taysom Hill, 11 carries, 52 yards. Alvin Kamara, 9 carries for 26. Jamal Williams, 3 carries for 6. Derek Carr, 3 carries for 3. Kendre Miller had 1 carry, didn't get any yards on that one. Chris Olave, 6 catches for 46 yards off 8 targets. Alvin Kamara, 4 catches for 44 yards. Kendre Miller, 1 catch for 31. Juwan Johnson being back in the fold, 5 targets, 5 catches for 29. You had Foster Moreau, had 1 catch for 23. Rashid Shaheed, not the 153-yard game from last week, but he had 3 targets for 22 yards. Taysom Hill, 4 catches for 13. Jamal Williams, 2 catches for 6. You also had 2 fumble recoveries, one by Paulson Adebo, one by P. Warner. Demario Davis had 10 tackles, 8 solo, and a sack. Also had a tackle for loss and a quarterback hit. Paulson Adebo, 7 tackles, 5 solo, had 3 pass deflections, and he also had 2 interceptions in the game. Cam Jordan, back to a Cam Jordan stat line, 7 tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. So, there you go right there. Then you got Tyrann Mathieu had 6 tackles, 5 solo, 1 pass deflection. Carl Granderson, who was all over the field, especially in the first half, had 5 tackles, 4 solo, and 1 tackle for loss. Then you have a couple guys with 5 here. Nate Shepard and Colin Sanders had 5 tackles. Marcus May, P. Warner, Marshawn Lattimore had 3. Zach Bond, don't know what the heck he was doing out there in coverage. I mean, a liability. Once again, let's go ahead and hit it. Barbecue freaking chicken.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
Please stay on special teams, my man. I mean, there's a place for you. You are the Craig Robinson of the special teams. I give you that. But when it comes to being on the field, my friend, not okay. We're gonna charge it up in a second. All right, let me finish up this stat line. All right, Zach Bond, 2 tackles. Alante Taylor, 2 tackles. Malcolm Roach, 2 tackles. Brian Brzee, 2 tackles. And Tano Pasio with 1. All in all, number 1, the Saints. It's time. It's time for them in the next draft or in free agency to be able to get another linebacker. Not to say that Demario Davis doesn't have anything left to offer, but you need to be able to figure out the transition process, right? From, you know that Pete Warner is going to be the guy. Demario Davis still has some left in the tank, but I ain't trying to see no Zach Bond on the football field trying to make no plays, because even when he tries to make a play, he doesn't make a play. Can I interest you in that interception against the Houston Texans? My goodness. Says Zach Bond needs to stay his ass on the sidelines. Craig Robinson is better than, absolutely. I'm talking about on special teams. But yeah, when Craig Robinson was in the game, yeah, he definitely made a difference. Zach Bond, I haven't seen enough of him. I'm gonna keep him on special teams, away from the field. Every time this dude comes on the field, for some apparent reason, it just does not work out. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. It just seems like, his head is just not in the game. Maybe he's just not ready for prime time. Man, what a pass by Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith right there. My goodness. But all in all, man, the boy need another linebacker. Like, if you subbing, yeah, he caught that. If you subbing and Zach Bond is your next option, it's time for you to try to reevaluate what the heck you got going. But all in all, the Saints get the victory. They're 5-4 on the season. Excited about that. Looking forward to seeing what the black and gold can do going into Minnesota, hostile territory. We all know about the divisional round back in 2017. You know that they're going to be showing that clip all week long. But all in all, look, they are not world beaters, but they are not a team where you need to be going up in there expecting to win. This is a Minnesota Vikings team that is capable, and they have beaten the San Francisco 49ers and beat some of the best teams in the league. And they have honestly dug themselves out of the hole they put themselves in early in the season. Kevin O'Connell has been doing an outstanding job at getting these guys motivated and also getting these guys coached up, because they could have easily just said Kirk Cousins out for the season. He gave us the best chance to win. We're not going to win anything. They go out there and they make a trade with the Arizona Cardinals and bring in Josh Dobbs, who end up coming into the game much earlier than he expected. Jared Hall, the backup quarterback, rookie out of BYU, slams his head to the turf. In comes Josh Dobbs. I mean, this is like movie stuff right here. And he comes out and he facilitates a comeback late in the fourth quarter, under a minute left, to get the Minnesota Vikings the victory. And that is the team that the Saints are going to be facing at home next week. I tell you what, Michael Thomas didn't record a catch today. He has got to be involved next week. The running game has got to show up next week. And the Saints have got to come up with an innovative way to be able to knock off the Minnesota Vikings, because if they don't, then this is another NFC loss, and they're going to really have to win out, really, to feel comfortable about their playoff chances. Looking forward to talking to you all about it. We're going to be breaking it down as the week goes on. And thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Check out previous episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button if you enjoy the content. Shouts out to everybody here. Once again, I do apologize. I will open up the phone lines on tomorrow, talking about the game, giving my final thoughts. We'll love to hear from you all. We'll do that tomorrow. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at TJAYJones8. You all have a good morning, evening, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.